Hi guys, so today we're going to be doing something a little bit different. I've done it probably once or twice where I get interesting stories from Reddit and share with you guys, and that's what we're going to be doing today. I found some stories that they are just something else entirely, so let me leave it to be the judge of that. But let's get right into today's video, and I'll be reading it from my phone. I just find it more comfortable. And the question was, what's your secret that could literally run your life if it came out? The first we have on our list would be 2.5 years ago, I was in dire financial straits. So I sold my home to keep my struggling business afloat. I neglected to tell the owners that they have an 800 square feet bunker on the property that I built about 7 years ago. The bunker that I've called home since I sold it. The entrance to it is so well hidden, but I still come and go very early and very late in the day. I'm a single man who keeps to himself. I am now in a situation where I could move somewhere else, but I love this hidden paradise so much. For this one, I really found it weird, the audacity to be, especially this person speaks like the person lives in the US, and knowing how there's no gun control in the US. Like, I feel like some people just play with their lives, Imagine the owners of the property now seeing a stranger on their property early morning or early night. Sometimes people will first shoot you before they hear your story later. So I just feel like sometimes we play with our lives so much. But anyways, the next one. I run a cake business. I charge people hundreds for wedding cakes. Every last one is made using Pillsbury cake mix I buy for $1 box at Walmart. I suck at baking. Every time I've tried to make a cake from scratch, it sucked. But baking is like my whole deal. My friends all call me the cake girl. It's like my whole life is a lie. People compliment my cake all the time, telling me how delicious they are, telling me it's so much better than box mix cake, telling me that you could never bake a cake so delicious. Well, guess what? For $1, they too can make a cake just as delicious. Just add oil, eggs, and water. In my defense, I love cake decorating. I make all the frostings and fondant from scratch. I just hate baking cakes so much. I base my prices mostly on the decoration of the cakes and not the cake itself, if that makes sense. Still, no one knows about this except my husband. Even my best friends think I slave over the oven mixing and baking these cakes. I have been doing this for years in capital letter. If anyone knew, my business and reputation would be in the toilet for sure. I keep telling myself I have to learn how to make these cakes without the box mixes, but I never do it. I feel like a sham sometimes. This story was one of the funny ones to me. She said baking is like her whole deal, and her friends call her the cake girl. So I want to believe if cake is your whole deal, then you will really devote all your time and energy into learning how to make the cake, isn't it? Because I don't understand how this has gone on for years. If you're really interested in baking cake, then you should have learnt by now. The years it took you in deceiving people, you should have learnt by now, So I just found this one so funny, and to think that her husband is supporting her. I don't know if the husband is telling her to learn the cake or not, or that is so risky, because just like she knows, most times we know. She also made a statement saying if people knew, it would jeopardize her business and her reputation, yet she's still doing it. I don't understand how you can say cake is your whole deal, your friends call you the cake girl, but you don't have any interest, like you've not taken any interest in actually learning the cake. No. Anyways, this one, she said, I once helped out my female friend's family by taking care of their cats for a week. Every day for a week, I would go over there and snoop around their house. I found my friend's diary and then proceeded to read the entire thing. I used this information to get her to like me, and she's currently my wife. This is one of the stories that pisses me off so much, because I feel everyone is entitled to their privacy, It doesn't have to make sense to you, and you don't have to like it. Everyone should be entitled to their privacy, especially when it comes in form of notes, journals, diaries, all of those things. I feel even when you come in contact with it, is there and the person is not there, you have no rights. If we all live towards protecting each other's privacies. There are so many things today that will not happen and will not be out in the open, Just imagine. Like, imagine, I can't even imagine the day this lady finds out that this person who she thinks loves her or is like minded as her or just, understands her actually doesn't. I just got it from the diary. Stories like this just gets me so upset. Well, anyways, let's move on to the next one. The next one would be I faked the last 2 years of college education. My parents put so much pressure on me, I couldn't handle it. In bracket, the person wrote, I was suffering from severe depression and anxiety, so I faked it all. Lied to everyone, made up fake transcripts. I just got my foot in the door in my desired field thanks to a friend as they hired me as a subordinate. This place only hires college grads, but no one checked my credentials since I was recommended. My hopes is that if I need to find another job, I would have been at this place long enough to get it by experience alone. In bracket, the person wrote, I work for a very prestigious company. I am not bad at my job, I'm actually quite good. But my fear is eventually I'll hit a wall and the lie will come to light. No one has known this for the better part of a decade. My God. It is a relief to finally say it out loud. I can't even tell those who I love. My silence is my prison. Let's just hope that they don't catch you. Sometimes, since you have the expertise, there's a job for you, Just, I know that it's not as easy. I know easier said than done, but there's a job that is there for you, Especially since you appear to be someone who is interested in their job and kind of has an idea of what they are doing. So I feel there are companies that would give you a benefit of a doubt, because if such a thing should get leaked, it could ruin your chances in working in other companies or other prestigious places, So yeah, sometimes the lie is not worth it, At the end of the day, one way or the other, one day, eventually, the truth will come out. So just save yourself the stress of, this secret. Just save yourself the burden or the weight of this secret, If you're able to face the truth or come in terms with the truth, life will be easier. I know it's easier said than done, and we need to understand that the more we are deep into a lie, the more deep we get, and it's so hard for us to come out of it. So yeah. The next one would be I used to be a police/fire/911 dispatcher, but had to quit because it nearly made me suicidal. I actually had thoughts, but I had to drive 40 miles to go to a center and hospital where no one knew me for help. I have nightmares about a few calls I took where the caller killed themselves, shot someone else, or passed away on the phone with me. To this day, a few years after resigning, I still can't listen to a phone ring or sirens go off without having a mild panic attack. I'm fairly sure it is a form of PTSD with flashbacks, nightmares, panic attack, and inability to function sometimes. But I'm embarrassed and scared to tell my fiance or go to a doctor for it. I know there are soldiers out there with real PTSD that deserve help far more than me. I am very good at hiding it though. I also sometimes wait until my fiance goes to sleep. I will then go sit and pretty much cry for several hours. It's hell. And then she came again and added, she said, I exhibit a lot of symptoms of PTSD, but I'm scared to get help for it because I don't think I deserve to be diagnosed with something like this, as in my mind, I was never in any real danger. Firstly, I want to say, it is not wise to downplay your pain just because you feel your pain is lesser than another person's pain. If it bothers you so much, then it is not something that should be taken lightly or downplay it. You're not a soldier, but your PTSD is as real as the soldiers out there, and you should also understand that your job requires so much and it takes a lot of courage to do a job like you've done, And I want to also encourage people to not be scared or feel ashamed in seeking help, especially when it has to do with our mental states, anything that has to do with our mind. It is very unnecessary, for you to be scared of what people will say or how the society will say or whatever the case may be, or excuse as I will see it. You are allowed 100% to be comfortable and safe in seeking help, So that is why the only thing I'll encourage you is to find that person or people that would make you feel safe, and not give you any room for you to feel scared or ashamed. And there is nothing to be ashamed in seeking help. It is not something that was self-inflicted, and if you had the opportunity, I'm sure you would not want to quit your job, if that makes sense, because you started that job for a reason. And yeah, you don't have to feel scared or ashamed of anything. And in as much as you're not a soldier, your PTSD is very real, like every other PTSD. So yeah, guys, there's this particular one that blew my mind, like speechless, and it's just 3 lines. It says, everyone thinks I have a good job and roommates, but I've been homeless and a prostitute for over a year. And just layers. Everyone thinks I have a good job and roommates, but I have been homeless and a prostitute for over a year. You have to do something about your situation. There is no point. Like, it's very pointless lying. And I want to encourage you today that if you're around people where you feel the need or see the need to lie, then maybe perhaps that's not your people. You need to, or we all need to be around and with people that makes us feel safe and comfortable at all times, if possible. You can do better, and not to judge you, but you're worth more than being a prostitute, and there's so much more life has to offer other than being a prostitute. You can still get your life on track. So yeah, next story. IT guy here. It's amazing what people will do on their computers and say in their emails, despite having to sign a waiver that all computer activity at work is monitored and recorded. I have half the company's banking, social media, and personal email account info and passwords. I know who is secretly banging who at the office behind their spouse's backs. I know who is cybering at work and jerking it in the bathroom almost daily. At least they tell their sex chat partner they are running off to the bathroom to check it. Haven't felt the need to check the validity of that one. I know when people are having marital problems, financial problems. I even know one person here who had their children taken away because a social worker found cocaine in their house. I know who is embezzling money. I know when people get fired for completely bullshit reasons, like they just want to replace them with someone younger and nicer on the eyes. And I know who my boss is buying Xanax and Vicodins from. Basically, I have a treasure trove of my co-workers' secrets. I won't actively do anything with this info, but it's nice knowing I have the ammunition. Listen to what this person said. I won't actively do anything with this info, but it's nice knowing I have the ammunition there if something were to ever happen. In the same sentence I said, I won't actively do anything with this info. Guys, the next one would be, when I was 15, my parents were going through a divorce. My mom worked night shifts and my dad was living with a friend of his. One night, my sister, who was 19 at the time, came home pretty drunk from a party. She was acting goofy and fell on the couch next to me. She started grabbing my leg and laughing and started fondling. Oh no. We ended up, oh no. We ended up having sex right there. When we woke up the next day, she had no recollection of the night before, so I just kept my mouth shut. Fast forward to when I'm 18. Sister is home from college and dad is over for a visit. They got into an argument, and in a fit of rage, my dad announces how he has never forgiven her for the abortion she got when she was 19 and subsequently killing his grandchild. In brackets, he's very religious. I then realized the baby she aborted was in fact mine. And as far as I know, I am the only one who knows, since she has never mentioned that night. It might shock you that she knows, she just feels it's better to keep quiet and be in denial. But Next, my daughter turns 5 next week. If anyone knew the truth behind her parentage, I could probably lose her forever. I grew up in a foster care, never knew my parents or siblings. In my senior year, I met an older guy and we dated for almost a year. Oh no. Getting pregnant about 7 months in, one night while we were watching TV, the subject somehow came around to our real parents. In brackets, he had been adopted as a young child. Turns out the man I was seeing The father of my daughter is my half brother. We have the same mother. Our relationship didn't last, and he is not in her life by his own choices. My daughter is extremely smart, beautiful, and well rounded. She will never know the truth. Her father and I made a pact to never tell her. I just hope she never needs a kidney or something. Edit. Keep reading about people who knowingly slept with relatives they grew up with. Is it bad that I feel slightly less horrible? Just so many things to unpack from this that I don't even know where to begin. So let's move on to the next story. I have memories of my sister, 5 years old, and I playing a role play game when I was younger that I think would be considered sexual abuse and molestation if I told anyone. I don't remember how old we were, but I know she was around the age where her breasts were developing. When home, we would play a role play game where she was a boss and I was a secretary, and the boss would always sexually harass the secretary. It ended in on me fondling my sister's breast while she would lie on the couch with her shirt off. My memory has always been really horrible, so I only remember patches of this, but I remember that it never felt sexual. I actually don't trust my memory enough to feel confident that this really happened. I love my sister, she's my best friend, and I would never want to damage our relationship by ever bringing this up and asking her what really happened. It is a secret I will carry with me and never reveal. Edit. To clarify, I'm a woman just in case anyone assumed otherwise. Oh, next story. I have been pretending to be colorblind to everyone I have ever known, including my own parents, since I was in third grade. I even convinced an optometrist of it. Like, there are some lies that are just so unnecessary, just so unnecessary. And see how long this lie has gone on. Next story. When I was 13, I called my father in bed with my 15 years old brother's girlfriend, also 15. Oh my god. I haven't seen her since, but I've been blackmailing my guys. I haven't seen her since, but I've been blackmailing my father with it for the last 6 years. Like, you're no different from your dad there. Like, oh my god. Oh my god. Anyways, last story for this one. It says, after graduating from a high school, I went to a small out-of-state college where no one from high school knew me. I was told many times how impressive my false Australian accent was. So I decided it would be great fun to go through college pretending to be from Australia. All of my friends and even my girlfriend of 2 years think I'm Australian. I have a completely fake Australian identity, family, and past. I will soon be graduating, and I even plan on asking the girl to marry me. Everything she knows about me is Australian. I don't know how to tell her she doesn't really know me. Guess I'm forever a bloke. Just like I said, this is also another lie that is so unnecessary. But yeah, guys, this story were just so, I don't even know if some were funny, some were just mind blowing, and I just found it interesting and wanted to share it with you guys. Another thread I would like to touch on, not really share, just a few stories, and then let me know, leave it in the comment section if you guys enjoy this segment, so I could probably then do this, the next one I'm going to do next week or anytime soon. So let me know in the comment section. But let's move on to a different thread which says, what are your crazy ex-girlfriend and boyfriend stories? This one was just very funny, scary, mind-blowing, and just eye-opening to the kind of people we have out there and on the dating market. So first story. Ex-girlfriend tried to hit me with her car, chased me down an alley in which a fence too high to jump was on one side and condos on the other. Proceeded to call me the next day at work and tell me that I look like a sexy cheater running away from her car. I found this one so funny, hilarious. Just the ex-girlfriend, there's something is not right, guys. Anyways, next story. 2 years after I ended things, she attempted to contact me again. I wasn't having it. After a few failed attempts, She sent another message that said, "You better find your God now because I'm going to murder you." Next, my girlfriend told me the week before I went to college that I got her pregnant, knowing that we're not going to date long distance. She sent me a picture of a stock photo pregnancy test she cropped that was positive. I literally just Google searched positive pregnancy test and it was one of the first ones. I made her come over and take another one. It was negative. She left. Next story. When I broke up with my ex, he became so hysterical that the only way he would let me leave him was if after the breakup, we continued to be best friends. Not just any kind of best friend either. He wanted me to still come over for sleepovers and share his bed with him. He told me that any other guy I dated after him had to be 100% okay with this, or else I couldn't date him. Next story. My first boyfriend tried to convince me he had slashed his wrist because I wouldn't take him back. The blood was obviously Catalina salad dressing. Then let's move to the last one so I don't give too much of it in case you're interested for more stories. And then our last one for this week would be my high school girlfriend told me she had cancer after our first date. She asked me not to tell anyone and that her parents got really upset if it was mentioned, so to not talk about it with anyone. I dated her for 6 months. She turned herself anorexic to appear sickly. Once I started making friends, no one understood why I was with her and I kept her secret. Well, I finally put 2 and 2 together after she told me she was going in for chemo on a Monday. She said she wasn't going to be at school for at least a week. I caught her trying to hide from me before the first class and asked her how her chemo went. She said it went so well and that all her hair fell out, but they sewed it all together and sewed the wig to her head. Yeah, she was a special one. Indeed, she's really a special one. But yeah, guys, this is the end of our story. I just found the stories interesting, bizarre, sick, funny, weird, and I just thought to share it with you guys and for us to do something different, you know, a little break from from the constant learning what I see, from the seriousness as well. And yeah, let's move into what I've been watching this week. The first on my list this week would be Lioness. This is a TV series that has 2 seasons, and the latest season, which is season 2, stops at episode 2, and it is a series that they release weekly. It is called Lioness, and it has to do with military, you know, army, military, soldier, such setting, CIA, all of that, such setting. But it is really, really interesting, guys. Especially for ladies who are interested in that women empowerment, women movement, and the rest. Lioness, as the name goes, it mostly has to do with a woman or women, if I may say. So it is really interesting, not just for that, but it is really interesting. And the storyline is, this Lioness is like a group, a very high advanced group, like the best of the best, where they do or carry out special operations. Yeah, I would say special ops. They are mostly for special ops, where they go for the high and mighty cases, you know, all those cases that seems impossible. They're the ones who go there. And the first season, there was this lady who was in a very rough space. She used to be a prostitute and she felt that job she wasn't okay with it anymore. So she started working at like a restaurant or so, but she had an abusive boyfriend and she was staying in a house with her boyfriend and so many other people, and they will always make jest of her, saying things like, does she feel she's bigger than them now because she's no longer prostituting like other people? And it just got so much. And one day her boyfriend really assaulted her so badly that she had to run into the Marine office, the US Marine, and upon getting into the office, you could not do anything. So from that moment, she decided she wanted to be a Marine. And then during their practice, they realized that, you know, sometimes when you just have so much anger in your heart and, you know, you could just do anything, you will conquer the world at that moment, you know. She was doing so well, even better than the men, and she was competing on the men's side. So eventually they wanted to see her because her scores were impressive and the rest. So she was recommended to the Lioness for a job, and her duty was to be friends with a very popular, influential, and powerful man to be friends with his daughter. So through that means they can get the man through his daughter, and that was her only job. And at that moment she was like, I can do it, I will do it. Like, she was so hyped up and everything. But by the time she was on the job, come to find out, she lost her way. She even started having an affair with the lady in question. Like, just so many things went so wrong that she almost ended up losing her life. And after that, it just appeared that she kept saying this wasn't what she signed up for, blah 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 blah. And it was like, in the beginning you sounded like you could conquer the world, you were ready to do anything. And when even when people were telling her, for her to be more prepared, she doesn't know what she was getting into and all of that, she was just keeping on that boldness and confidence. But eventually but it is really, really interesting, guys. You need to give it a watch. I was so upset towards the end of her own special ops. I was like, they don't need to bring her back to the lioness. Like, she needs to go, So just give it a watch. It is really interesting, and permit me, if my storytelling skills are not on 100, just give it a watch. Really interesting. And then the remaining, or I'll say the next I've been watching, would be my regular shows that I've mentioned countless times here, which would be Tulsa King, The Penguin. The Penguin is just, that man is just something else. Also, guys, it's about to go down, I would say. In the last episode I finished watching, it's about to go down. And then the last on my list would be Found. All this I've mentioned are series. The last on my list would be Found. This is also a regular show that I was watching. They took a break. They had season 1 released last winter and season 2 just started. And so far there's been 4 episodes out. And guys, the premise of this show is, there was a man who used to lecture in a college, and he kidnapped one of his students. And then one day when they were talking, she made a statement, a very harmless statement, and this man took it that she wanted a playmate. So he went to kidnap a baby, like a little girl, not a baby, but a little girl. And she on her own was still, you could say, a girl child, because she was in college, if that makes sense. I don't even think it's college. I think high school, not college. I'm not sure, but yeah, both of them were young, and he kidnapped this baby because he misunderstood her statement. And I feel that was no misunderstanding, it's just how he is, But eventually they were able to escape. After escaping, she, of course, her life, or their lives, were no longer the same. Especially the elderly lady, her world was rocked. That's the main character. She lost her dad to dementia also, I can't remember, and then he eventually died. So in turn, she kidnapped her kidnapper, and she kept him in her house for years, for a very, very long time. And she was using him because her own job, or her career now, she had an office where they call M&A, I think missing people or something. Yeah, the office is called M&A, and all she does, or all they do, is rescue missing people that don't want to go to the police. They go there, and they've been so many successes. They are very good at their jobs. So she was using him. She kidnapped him. No one knew this information, only her. She kidnapped him in her house. No one was visiting her. Like, she was able to live up to that aspect that no one knew that side to her. She would use him to solve each and every one of her cases, until one day it felt like she was in danger and he escaped. And he kept warning her that, because he is so obsessed and infatuated with the lady, she, on the other hand, is so obsessed or very protective of the other lady that was kidnapped together with her, because she has some sense of guilt and responsibility that this other person was kidnapped just because of her. And that if you've gone through something, you want to protect the other person. So she really loves this other girl, and she's always there for her. And he sees the lady as a stumbling block in their relationship, so he wants her out of the picture. So the moment he escaped, the first place he went was back to that lady's place, and he kidnapped her again. So that's the second time in her life she's been kidnapped by this same person, and this time around she actually came this close to losing her life. And it's just really crazy. Just so crazy. You need to give it a watch. I haven't watched this week's episode. That's the latest episode release, and I can't wait to watch it. I think that's what I'm going to do after this video. So yeah, just give them a watch. They are super interesting, engaging, and it is appealing to both the youth, old people, men, women, both genders. It doesn't matter. So give them a watch and you will not regret it. Also, feel free to let me know in the comment section if you're watching any, if you would love to drop any comments about it. And also, like I said, if you're interested or a fan of this segment where I get to share interesting or stories I find interesting on the internet and Reddit, feel free to leave it in the comment section so we can do more of these from time to time. And yeah, thank you once more for joining me on this video. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, like it if you haven't, share, subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.